For over a decade, Elmore Leonard has reigned as one of America's great crime fiction writers. His string of 13 consecutive bestsellers, including Get Shorty, whose film adaptation won John Travolta an Oscar nomination. The film rights to his latest novel, Out of Sight, were sold before the book was even published. It tells the tale of a career bank robber, a beautiful young federal marshal, and their odd romance. I am pleased to have Elmore Leonard back at this table. Welcome back, sir.
Charlie, thank you.
I know how big you are because when I look at this book, your name is more prominent than the title.
Above the title.
Above the title.
Mm-hmm.
That says something, doesn't it?
I think it's
Is that in your contract?
No, it isn't. No.
That's just because your bookseller knows what's going to make people come and buy this book. They're buying an Elmore Leonard.
The publisher designs the jacket.
Now, when they buy an Elmore Leonard, what are they buying?
They're buying, I think, the way I tell a story. Because I don't, plot comes along. There has to be a plot in it. There has to be a beginning, middle, and an end. But I think that people read me for the way it's told, not what it is, not what it's about.
Yeah. They like the relationships, they like the type of characters you draw, and they like the way you can create a mosaic from rather disparate, not necessarily lovable characters.
Yeah, and what interests me the most is to let the characters, allow the characters to tell the story in the way they talk to one another, the way they interact.
Other than practice, how do you create character?
Well,
what do you need to do?
I don't base my characters, with very few exceptions, on real people. They're made up, and yet they're types. I always begin with a type of person, and as I get to know that particular type, he becomes real to me. I have to give him a name. Names are so important, and I have to have the right name or he won't talk. A good guy named Frank won't talk. I don't know why. So Jack will talk. I've had several girls named Karen. Karen's in this book. Karen's a talker.
Is Karen pretty?
She's quite pretty, right? Yeah, of course she's pretty.
Yeah.
And she has long legs, slim legs, and yes. And
so finding that character, finding the right name, and giving them a voice.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have that going in, or is that?
No. What I develop for them, or sometimes they develop, is an attitude.
That's what I was going to say. Attitude.
They have to have an attitude. You know?
About who they are and what life is about.
Exactly. Yeah. This is where they came from. You know, or
do
where
you
they're
research much?
A lot. Oh, an awful lot. An awful lot. Yeah.
Like what? I mean, what did you research in this book?
In this book, prison life from various angles, bank robbers, the different, I have my researcher get me newspapers and magazine stories of bank robberies, just all kinds of bank robberies. I learned that bank robbers are given nicknames by the cops. I learned, I want to know about prison life. I want to know specifically about prisons that are mentioned in this one. Yeah. Lompoc, for example, in California. Right. So my researcher calls up Lompoc and he asks them questions about the yard, about the weather.
Yeah, I remember from way in the deep recesses of my mind the notion that bank robbers were at the top of the totem pole in prison. Is that right?
Yeah.
Whereas child molesters are at the bottom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the bank robber is, and by that I mean a pro bank robber. This is what he does, and not a crackhead who needs to
need to fix.
Yeah. That they are respected more than others, but the old pros in prison resent all the crackheads and all the dopers who they consider
giving inmates a bad name.
They're not pros.
Yeah,
you know, they're amateurs, and they're also they tend to be snitches.
And not worthy of respect either.
No,
I mean,
as real
professionals,
authentic criminals. No.
Yeah. And the criminal mind. How did you figure that out?
Well, I think it's just a question of a guy who wants to acquire as much money as he can without working.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple.
He doesn't want to work.
He doesn't want to work.
I
He
think
doesn't want
more,
a job.
I mean, you know, God knows more about this than I do, but isn't it about, it's almost a sense of, I want to beat the system. Beating the system is making money by not working. That's one way of beating the system.
Yeah.
But it's also, you know, it's an attitude about superior. I'm better. I don't have to work. I'm better than that. I can steal. I can defraud.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's going to tell people about it.
Yeah.
Because he wants them to know that he's better, that he got away with something.
Yeah.
So he tells someone, and then that person tells the cops, and this guy then has to do time.
Most crimes are solved because somebody
Yeah.
tells somebody, right?
Yeah.
They can't they make mistakes.
Well, most of my characters are not well educated, and they may have street smarts, but they're not very bright. And I think this is the way criminals are for the most part.
Now, is it realistic to have Karen, in your case, 20, how old is she?
29.
29, fall in love
We don't know.
with a
Yeah.
con?
Yeah, sure. Why not? The type of person that she is, a romantic,
Yeah.
sure, I can see it.
You don't have to suspend belief to believe that.
No. But to picture it as a movie, she's going to fall in love with somebody, say, 20 years, almost 20, at least 20 years her senior.
Because?
Because that's how old he is. That's how old I want him to be.
Oh, I see.
The old pro. He's
Yeah.
been doing it since he was 18 years
So
old.
you create a character that will be attracted to a man 20 years older than she is.
Yeah.
A 46-year-old man.
Yeah.
Why are your novels, more than most, made into movies? What is it you do?
Well, they look like movies. They're written in dialogue. They're written in scenes, and they're moved with dialogue. So they look like movies.
And do you do it because it's just your way of writing, or because you've got your eye on this film adaptation?
It's my way of writing. Although in the beginning it was my aim, back more than 40 years ago, to sell to the movies, and to sell well, and to make money at this.
And you have.
Yes. Selling to the movies has, and I think out of 33 books, at least 30, the first 3 are not optioned now. They were optioned at one time. But of the 33 books, 30 have been bought or optioned. Plus short stories that also are made into movies.
You ever want to produce one yourself?
No.
Why not?
Well, I almost did, and I wasted a lot of time. It's not what I do. I want to write. And I don't want to write movies because that's work. You're working for somebody. You have to please certain people. Not certain people. You have to please a lot of people.
You love it.
Writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to. I really do.
I mean, you enjoy your work.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not something about shelter and bread.
No, I really do enjoy it. Yeah. I get enormous satisfaction out of doing at the end of a day, 4 or 5 clean pages. What I think
4
are
or
clean.
5.
Yeah, 4
Clean
or 5.
means you don't have to do anything to it?
They're done, and boy, that works. Until I look at those pages the next day. And then I start to fool with them and fill in here and change this and so on.
And
but that's what it is.
If I did this, I would have to go all the way through.
Yeah, and
then
a lot of
come back
writers,
and-
a lot
and
of
then-
writers
and
do.
tinker with it, 'cause
No, I don't do that. I fix it as I
can't.
go along. And as I go along, get ideas, plot ideas, then I have to go back and insert little scenes or statements to make it work, whatever I think of later on. But that's, to me, the whole thing is just rewriting until I get to about page 300. And by then, I should know how it's going to end, because it's going to end in the next 50 pages.
I was going to say, you got 50 pages to go, so
Yeah.
it's better.
Yeah.
You know, they say that a lot about a lot of movies and a lot of books, is that they get 2/3 of the way there and they don't know where to go. So they just end it without any neatly creative ending. That's a criticism of a lot of films and books.
Yeah, there are a lot of stories that are
tie up.
grabbers in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it
Peters
just
out.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to...
Well, it's hard. It's not easy, but boy, I don't think there's anything like it.
You write in the morning and the noon and night, or just in the morning?
All day.
All day.
9:30 to 6.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Take a break for lunch?
Sometimes.
But you don't, like, go away and, you don't take 3 hours in the middle of the day and go out and...
Oh, no. I don't go out and eat lunch with people.
Yeah. Oh,
That's the worst thing
you don't hang out
do.
with
No.
anybody.
And talk about writing, no.
You just...
Do it.
Do it. Computer?
No, pen.
Pen?
Pen.
Yellow pad?
Yeah, but they're unlined yellow pads that I have.
Made for you?
Mm-hmm. 8.5 by 11 yellow.
Why unlined?
I worked at an ad agency that provided buff-colored unlined yellow pads, and I liked them a lot. So now I have them. I have them made. I'll buy 50 pads at a time, 5,000 sheets, and that lasts a year and a half.
Have you tried a computer?
No, no, I'm going to get by without ever having touched one. There's no need to.
This is a personal goal of yours?
Yes, it is, because machinery turns me off.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And there's something sort of soulful about taking a pen. And,
yes, that's writing.
Yeah.
Writing. And then, of course, I have an electric typewriter now.
Yeah, what do you do with that?
I mean, once I do a few pages in longhand, then I put it on my typewriter.
You type it yourself? You have somebody come in and do that for you?
No, I do that because that's just part of the process. That page comes out, and then I go over it, and someone does the final typing. But, yeah, I have to look at it typed. But my editor says that she thinks she can tell those books that are created on the computer, the ones that were written by guys who used just a typewriter before or longhand. And she says they're not as good. And I think it's because they look good. The page looks good on the screen. Therefore, it must be good,
So it's easy to do it with a computer, and so therefore, because it looks good and it's all nicely arranged, and therefore you don't see the imperfections in it.
I think that's the theory.
Yeah. I don't believe that for a second.
Well, maybe it's not true.
No. You said to me last time you were here that you weren't only interested in writing a screenplay if it was an original screenplay.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing anything about that?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. How many books? This is 31, is it? What is this,
no,
30?
That's 33.
33.
That's 33, and I'm into 34. So then I'll do 35.
Of course. Then you do 36.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many do you set out to do? What's the sequence? I mean, you do one a year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It pretty much works that way.
Yeah. Yeah, because it takes, you think about it for a couple of months or so, and then get the research going, and then take 5 or 6 months to write it, and there you are.
Who do you read?
I read right now. I'm reading about the Great Indian Mutiny in the Sepoy Rebellion in India in 1857, when all the
In what
Indian
state?
troops.
Where?
In the northern part.
In the Dakotas, or?
No, in India.
Oh, in India.
When all the Indian troops revolted against their British officers, and massacred thousands of British living in India at that time, in 1857. I happen to be reading that because I don't read fiction when I'm writing a book.
Why not?
Because I'm perhaps too impressionable, and I may start to pick up someone else's style or someone else's punctuation, which I've done.
Oh, in other words, you've read other people and their punctuation seeped into your own writing?
Yes, all of a sudden I'm writing compound complex sentences with semicolons. After reading...
Who did that to you?
William Goldman did that to me back with The Marathon Man. That was some years ago.
William Goldman, the screenwriter?
Yes. Joan Didion got me paragraphing in a strange way one time. I've forgotten what book it was of hers that I had read.
What's your favorite of these?
Freaky Deaky.
Freaky Deaky is?
Yeah.
Where did the title come from?
The dance. Freaky
Deaky?
Freaky Deaky in Detroit, there was a dance in the late 70s where it happened that where people were doing the Freaky Deaky, people got shot.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing the freaky deaky with somebody else's wife, you could get in trouble.
All right. So stay away from somebody else's wife if you want to do the freaky deaky.
Yeah.
Elmore Leonard's book, Out of Sight. It's always great to have you here. Come back anytime.
Charlie, thank you.
Pleasure. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Marv Albert is here, and we'll talk a little sports when he shows up. Back in a moment.